want you to just plant a fist right in that SI region. Okay, the top of the thumb is on top of the pelvis. That's where you're going to lock in your position. Once you do that, hold this for maybe, I don't know, 5-10 seconds. Okay, and then you're going to work your way on the side of the table and finish out the stroke. Okay, we're just riding the edge of the pelvis here. You're primarily driving with the index knuckle and the middle knuckle. Once you get to the end, you want to soften the grip. You don't want to pinch their skin on the table. Okay, once you get to the end, switch to the other side. Internally rotate. You're putting pressure on the first two knuckles. Thumb straight. Same thing, riding the edge of the crest of the pelvis there. Really drive nice, broad pressure. Switching sides, thumb down, riding the crest of the pelvis per usual. Really driving that pressure in the first two knuckles. You're kind of hitting all of the anatomy above the pelvis. The left hand is hitting all the anatomy below the rib cage. So you're kind of riding the edge of the pelvis here, and then you're riding the edge of the rib cage there. Okay, so that's what you're doing, but you're alternating between each one. Switching sides. Okay, notice that I turn my wrist kind of like a corkscrew. That's kind of the game changer there. You're riding the natural contours of the body. That is what makes it feel smooth and delightful. Do not put pressure on the rib cage. Do not put pressure on top of the pelvis. That does not feel good. Okay. Once you feel like you kind of address the anatomy glued against the pelvis, you can kind of shift some of the tension below the rib cage. Okay, so instead of locking in the finger on top of the pelvis, you're locking in the thumb below the rib cage. Same thing, driving that pressure through those first two knuckles. I'm kind of getting over the table here a little bit. I'm not really pushing into the body. I'm pushing like through the body. Good. Rinse and repeat that. Oh man, this feels so good. Okay. When someone reports lower back pain, you are doing them a disservice by not working on the upper glutes. Okay. Depending on their lifestyle and depending on the type of work they have is where they're typically going to report their pain. So with that being said, the top right hip, we need to focus a lot of attention on. So what we're going to do here is just kind of peel back the drape. What I like to do is kind of pin it here at the sacrum and pull it back, kind of creating a nice taut line, exposing the upper glute here. Okay, you can kind of tuck it in a smidge here as well to kind of lock that in place. This is the area we really need to focus on. We need to find the top of the hip, and then from there down that angle. Avoid going under the sheet, so make sure that you're kind of riding the edge of the sheet there. Not too much oil. When I over lubricate, I kind of cup my hand and just put the edge of my fingers to lubricate. That's usually enough. If you don't have that rag around, if you don't have that rag, I just kind of wipe my hands on the table. It usually does the trick, but whatever you got. Okay, we're going to do some ironing across the upper glutes. Okay, same thing. Start off at the edge. This time we're going to go below the pelvis. Okay, you're going to find a sacrum. Get to the edge of that sacrum. Once you find that, you are driving down. Okay, nice, straight, tall, long body. Squeeze the trunk of your body. Hold this position. Drive away from it. You're going towards the hip, going towards the greater trochanter. That's the game changer. Boom, that's money. Perfect. Good, you can use both palms, fists. You do it in an alternating fashion. Good. Nice and broad. Exactly like that. Now we're going to get towards more of the lateral side of the hip. The way I like to do that is by dropping down to one knee. We're kind of using the same kind of position, but instead of kind of driving, you're kind of anchoring down. You're punching the hip up, locking that in, driving your entirety of your body weight into it, and then working down towards a greater trochanter. It's like stripping with your fist. Okay, you're not squeezing the fist. It's a nice soft one, so it kind of looks a little bit more like this versus like this. Okay, same thing. Anchor, drive your body into it. That is yummy. Rinse and repeat. Okay, I'm gonna stand up, hit the mid fibers, hit those top fibers. Good. Okay. Another thing you can do is lock in your thumb, squeeze your thumb, kind of like a throttle on a motorcycle. Nice soft fist. The bottom fist, the one closest to the hips, is going to go directly below the pelvis. So the crest is right here. You're going to go below the pelvis. You're going to grab your thumb like a throttle, and then these two knuckles are going to go in the QL region. You can drive both in a nice, steady fashion. Seems a little over lubricated here, so I'm going to wipe a little bit off. Just going to use this towel that I have laying around. Try to avoid doing this. I don't like doing it, but you got to do it sometimes. You can just use the sheet too. Something like this probably works just fine too. Adjust that. Bottom fist, grab your thumb like a throttle. Right fist in the QL region. Nice and broad. Oh, see, that's really good contact. Okay, nice and broad. We're driving down and just letting gravity do its thing. Perfect.